So, it's Friday night in North Carolina. I have neighbors. They're going to think I'm insane. The one of them has on a pig shirt just like mine. But it's green. And they have wine. Leslie Pazak, you're watching. What day are you getting here? Blair is so desperate to go see some Bugs movie that I just cannot go. I was thinking Maggie could go. Y'all, it's so pretty out here. Look down here. Y'all see those lights? Might be a party. Monday, you're getting here Monday, thank goodness. Yes, the beach. Ellen, I got your message. Sorry I didn't respond that you were going by Edenton. If I had been there, you could have come by and paid us a little visit. But we're not there. Some of us are there. My husband is there. He had to have dental surgery today. Yes, that's not good. And so he's at home. And then Kim's husband's on the couch. Little Thomas went home today. He went to sailing club tonight. I don't know why my husband's sending me text. Went to sailing club tonight, and then tomorrow he has to be at church to pack up the van, and they're going on a mission trip. We go to St. Paul's, and they have this place called Glory Ridge up in, it's about an hour north of Asheville, and they'll go spend there for the week. Cynthia's in Asheville. So he's real excited. He loves it. They sleep in their, like, hammock things under a big, I don't know what it's called, a podium, whatever one of those big round things are. They sleep there, and then, you're welcome, Tracy, and then they go do work days every day in the community of people that need help with their houses or their driveways or their roofs or their decks or whatever. So he leaves Sunday and he'll be back next Saturday. A yurt. No, not a yurt. Pavilion. That's what it is. It's a pavilion. So Russell, Blair, and Amos and I are here. And my dad. No, it's not part of Reach. But my dad has gone down to the condominium to take an umbrella and 2 chairs. Hey, Jennifer. Jennifer Bryan Johnson and I... She's a wealth of knowledge and educator in North Carolina, which is good, especially since that's our topic tonight. Not that I'm an expert, but I do live in North Carolina, and I listen to what a lot of people say about education. And so, sort of perplexed how this much could go wrong in a short amount of time. So, well, there are lots of things that are happening. One of the biggest things to me is that a committee got together and they were supposed to look at assessments. We've used the M-Class for years in North Carolina, maybe 6 years. And this group got together and made a recommendation of Amplify, which is M-Class. Well, Mark Johnson decided that iStation was better. Now, evidently on the committee, someone voted for iStation. I'm assuming it's probably the person that works for Mark Johnson. So on these committees, there are people that work for him, as well as people from like Best NC. So there's some vested interests that want to do what he wants to do. I was told today that Wake County was not doing iStation. Melissa, I have heard that from a couple people, but there is nothing on record that that is the truth, because the contract is with iStation. So I don't know how they just don't use it. But anyway, I'm not saying you're wrong. Maybe they're trying to make it happen. It's still kind of silly to use it, because who's going to get trained? When are they going to get trained? And we've spent, I don't know, $6 million on iPads, and then they spent another $3 million with new reading materials and getting the iPads linked up for M-Class. It feels very politically motivated to me, but I can't seem to find any link. Now, the president of iStation, I don't know if he's the president, His name is Richard Collins. Richard Collins does have an organization called Richard H. Collins Enterprises. And he gave money to Richard Burr, I did see. But that's really it. But the newest money in the newest elections is not out yet. So who knows what we'll find that. So that's the big thing. So the News and Observer had a big article about it today, and DPI's quote was, they couldn't come to a consensus, so they picked iStation. Well, if you couldn't come to a consensus, what is it, like a tiebreaker that Mark Johnson picks? Anyway, that doesn't seem logical to me. Now, there's another group, a reading commission, and their job was to examine literacy in North Carolina. And so they did that. And a woman named Chris Cox, she's the executive director of Read, Write, Spell in Winston-Salem. She was on the commission. The commission was headed up by Erica Berry, who is one of Mark Johnson's, executive, I don't know, he comes up with all these bizarre titles. But anyway, she's one of them. And they went through and looked at literacy. Now, several folks from North Carolina went up to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, to look at what they're doing with reading. And they're using this program they call Letters. And really what they've discovered is we've kind of taken phonics out of reading, and that science said phonics are important. So Bethlehem, in the gist of this program, is lots of teacher training, lots of support, and really using science and research to dictate how we teach reading. I know, heaven forbid we do anything logical, but that's what they did. So the group went up to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and they looked at their population, very similar to North Carolina's, obviously a smaller group, but they had maybe the kids that were 54% proficient. By the end of the year, they were over 80% proficient. And the achievement gap kind of was kaputty. So that was good. So this group, the Reading Commission, made a recommendation to Mark Johnson and said, we need to change how we teach reading. We have got to do what is going to work, because we've been doing Read to Achieve. We spent $151 million in the last 6 years. And all we know, Read to Achieve does not work. The North Carolina Friday Institute said that it does not work. Everyone knows it doesn't work. Yet there have been no recommendations to say, you know what, it doesn't work. Instead, the recommendations are, well, we need to have better reading camps. So I'm going to put a post up in the morning. Decided I wanted to do a live video tonight, not a post. So we're going to kind of look at that decision, and I'm getting bit by mosquitoes. Look at why that happened, and why have a commission if you're not going to listen to them? So the commission said to Mark Johnson, we think you should change the way we teach reading. And the only big decision he made this spring was, I think we're going to do a new assessment. We're going to do iStation. Now, the head of iStation, a woman, she's the president, she's really curious. So she was quoted in the News and Observer article today and said, North Carolina has been using M-Class for 6 years and their reading scores have not improved. Okay. She's citing that they've been using the same evaluation for 6 years and that the scores haven't improved. It's a frickin' evaluation. It's not instruction. That's like saying Adrienne has been using the same scale and she cannot get below 153 pounds. And so a normal person would say, well, Adrienne might need to change her eating habits, right? Well, Mark Johnson said, I think let's get a new scale. Literally, people. Do I have bed bugs or fleas? I have something, sort of no-see-ums, only in North Carolina. So they do a new scale, iStation. Don't change instruction. So here we have Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, who's used this amazing program. They're seeing awesome benefits. It's all centered around teachers. And instead, North Carolina is saying, no, we like personalized learning. We like it for 4-year-olds. The Senate is saying, well, why would we expand NC Pre-K? when we can give them computers and maybe help their families have internet access? Y'all, this is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I mean, it's so illogical that you think, like, was that show, The Twilight Zone? You remember that little boy would eat these peanut butter and jellies, and it was like everything was freaky. My neighbors have the biggest dick. So anyway, it's crazy talk. Crazy, crazy, crazy talk. The idea that a computer, and so the same woman who's with iStation said computers are just as good as people at assessing. No, they're not. So let's pretend for a minute that I'm gonna be assessed on a computer. Let me turn my light. Oh, look, I have more light. Say a child is like, oh, look, just like I did. Look at that deck over there. Well, meanwhile, the computer is tick, 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 time, tick, 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 tick. And Adrian is too busy looking at the bird outside the window. So Adrian's score is lower, where a teacher might say, Adrian, come on back, come back to me. We're doing this right now. Ann Constantino said, this is part of the nationwide push for personalized blending learning. Anyway. Okay, I'm like itching. Mosquitoes. So, what can you do about that? So the answer is, what can you do right now? You can email your state board members. You can email your legislators. You can say, you know what? Like, maybe we need to change reading in North Carolina. The root of the question for me is, and this is what is scary, and you might think I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I really don't think I am. I feel like I'm fairly well informed. I'm literate. I read. I pay attention to what's going on. If I were a superintendent, and I'm not, but if I were, and a commission came to me and said, we've got a big problem. We are not using science to influence how we're teaching reading, and that's why our children are stagnant. The M-Class is a great assessing tool. It's accurate. They are stagnant. Why, as a superintendent, would I say, I think I'm just going to stick with summer reading camp? Well, I'll tell you, the only logical solution I can think of is that Mark Johnson has to do exactly what Berger says. That's the only thing. I can't think of any other logical. I mean, he's an attorney. He passed the bar exam. He should know that if a commission says something, you're going to listen. Email your district superintendent. They have a state meeting next week. Yes, great idea. So the only reason you would not do that is if you purposefully didn't want to, not because you didn't think it was the right thing to do. That's a worry. I want a superintendent that cares about my children. This is not political, people. This has nothing to do with Republicans or Democrats, or at least it shouldn't. Now, currently, some annoying people are Republicans. I will say that. But Republicans care about public education. They do. They care about it. No, I'm not running for state superintendent, but I am supporting Jen Magrum, who is running for state superintendent. You know, I haven't had experience in the classroom. I haven't taught teachers. I really think people need to be in that role that really get it. June Atkinson was that person. Mark Johnson is not that person. That's not working well. Oh, it's getting dark. Now, our next topic is autism. So this has been a little bit sneaky in North Carolina. They have been trying to change the rules for how we deem if you get services and you have autism. It's a little bit of a worry. And it's been sort of under the radar. So this amazing mom had reached out to me and had worked really hard behind the scenes saying, you can't just make decisions like this without parent input. So voila, suddenly we have these parent information meetings. And I published them on Facebook today, this site, so you can see. So there was one last night in Washington, and there's one next July 2nd. I mean, clearly you have a meeting July 2nd because you don't want anybody to go. But if I can get a babysitter, I'm going. Maybe I should take Amos. That would be interesting. So there was a meeting last night, and I talked to a couple people that went. And the old requirements where you had to meet 3 out of 4 criteria to be served for autism. Pretty simple. The new requirements are 5 out of 7. And the worry is, some people might say, well, that's good. They're really trying to get in and make sure we got everything right. But what's going to happen is they're going to try to use some things on there to say there's no problem and you don't need service. Is this against the law? Probably. But should it have to get that far? No. Now, the state board was supposed to have voted on it in June, and now the vote's been pushed back to August. But I will be going to the meeting, and this is just totally an aside, but interesting considering how everything else is done. Last night at the meeting, there was a mother who doesn't speak English. There was not a translator there, as required by law for the Equal Opportunity Act, because we have to serve everyone, no matter if they're blind or deaf or Spanish speaking. There was no information handed out in Spanish, and instead of acknowledging this, people just acted like they forgot it, were confused. I don't think so. So no, Lisa, it won't override your physician. So Amos might have an autism diagnosis, but what it could do is it's going to tighten the limits of saying, does he actually need services through school? If it doesn't affect him academically, so let's say Amos, for instance, can read and write, right? We know that. Does that mean Amos doesn't get services in school? Possibly. If he doesn't meet these other problems, it's possible. Well, what is school? Is school totally academic, or is it also social? I mean, we have children with severe cognitive disabilities, and we know that they have a right to go to school. So you don't want your state doing this. It will hurt high functioning. Yes, it would greatly hurt high functioning. It also, I think, really who it'll hurt are families that are uneducated. We know that a lot of kids with autism, the families aren't like me. They don't know how to be an advocate. I mean, how could you? This is all I've done my whole life, is study to do this. And so those families are going to get confused. The wording is terribly elaborate, using this new tool, DSM-5, which is used, it's meant and was written and recommended by the American Psychiatric Association, go inside where there's light, as a tool for clinicians and researchers. There ain't nothing in it that says anything that it should be used by schools. Where are you going? Oh, they're in here watching it. What are y'all watching?
Aquaman.
They're watching Aquaman. Is that appropriate?
Yes.
I doubt it. So, yes, this is just strictly around autism. It also says there is a sensory piece. So, like, one mom said to me, well, they said my child didn't have a sensory problem because, what are you doing?
He doesn't want to.
No, you're not in the video.
Don't care.
Well, you're not in it. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about education. You're not even...
Can you do it in your
I'm not
bedroom,
talking to you.
Please, Mommy, please.
I'm not going to go up to my bedroom.
You know the volume's loud, so nobody will hear you anyway.
Well, I'm being quiet. So, now they've made me get distracted. So they said to her in an IEP meeting, well, your child's not a distraction to others. She was like, yeah, but he's rolling around on the floor, so he can't be learning. So you really have to watch out for these new rules. They're weaponizing the DSM. Yes, I think that's fairly accurate. Another thing that they did that is scary, and you question people's motives, they said, we have these stakeholders, and all these stakeholders, the Autism Society, and then ECAC, Exceptional Children's Assistance Parenting Programs, they're all in on this together. Well, after reaching out to some of those stakeholders, they're not in on this. ECAC issued a statement and sent it to me and said, there's parts of this we like, but we have some grave concerns. So what if I issued a statement and said, the debutante thinks this, and these are my stakeholders. You know, the NC State agrees with me, and so agrees with me. That's a pretty, ballsy thing to do when it's not true. These people were not stakeholders. Somebody from the group randomly called random people in the groups to try to get they're okay. Anyway, what a pain in the ass. So would all AU students have to have new AU evals? Good question. I don't know. I do know that you would not be grandfathered in. So if you have been served, I would assume that when it was time for your new IEP meeting, the new things would show up and they would look at it from a different standpoint. And they keep saying it's not 5 out of 7, but it is. You have to meet 3 of one thing, and then you have to meet 2 out of 4 another things. That's 5 out of 7, not 3 out of 4. What are y'all doing? Y'all seem sneaky.
We're trying to watch a movie, but
But your talking will interrupt the movie.
Well, I'm whispering.
No, you're not.
Yes,
your
I am.
whispering
It's very bad.
is very much
So
like
anyway.
talking.
Your whispering is very much like talking. Well, I'm almost done. Give me 2 minutes. So if y'all can go to one of those meetings, please go. Another interesting fact is they ain't doing any in Raleigh or Greensboro or Charlotte, because they don't want people to go that are educated, that live in, higher income areas. They're doing them in
Yes.
What are you doing?
Popcorn.
Opening a popcorn.
Eating. They're all eating.
I'm not. Amos is asleep and you're not. You're talking.
Okay, can you shush it for a second?
Actually, everyone's eating.
So anyway, go to the meetings and reach out and complain. You might think, well, I'm one voice. What am I going to do? But I tell you what, if a lot of people speak up, changes happen. They happen. Trust me, they will happen. And if they didn't happen, at least we can say, like, we did the best we could. Ours was an hour west of Asheville. I mean, it's so purposeful, which is why I'm going to Jacksonville on July 2nd.
I don't want another Martin Luther King thing.
Let's see, there was another thing going on. Not just the autism thing. The iPads. Now, this is funny. June Atkinson, you know who can you not love? She said to me, you've got to find out what happened to all those iPads that are in storage in Raleigh. So today somebody said, well, I heard they're out of storage and that we're going to use them. Now, I thought about this. They're not ready to be used yet, but they've been in storage. What time? July 2nd, Ellen? It's at 5:30, I think. Ooh, Jen Magram's going to go too. We can have dinner.
Oh my god.
Hope you have a great day. Bye.
So the rest of the state, they took the iPads and they put in all this M-Class stuff. So then I started wondering, well, did they hold the Wake County iPads? Wake County is obviously like almost half our state's children. Not quite, but it's a lot. So that they didn't spend money on M-Class, probably because Mark Johnson knew he was going to use iStation. I think it's a possibility. I have no proof, but I think it's a possibility. So now Wake County is saying, well, we're not using iStation. I ain't heard nothing about that, but I hope it's true. Near Western Carolina University. Anyway, y'all might think, you know what? I don't have a child with autism. I don't have a child in public schools. I don't have children. But you should care because these kids are going to make our state awesome.
I'm not in public school.
There's another country heard from. Blair is going to private school next year. Would you like to tell them why you're going to private school? Well, why is it?
Because she wants to think that private schools are very, very fancy.
Is that what
They
you think?
don't have a wooden playground anymore.
Because you like a wooden playground?
No, because they don't have one anymore.
They don't
Oh,
have
you
a
like the private
standard.
school's
That's the
playground.
only reason I didn't want to go last time.
It's
They
because
have
they don't have a standard wood playgrounds.
And the kid who had a bloody nose isn't going to be in my class.
Blair, I thought you
This
were
is
talking about yourself.
this is real truth around here, in case y'all are wondering. Real truth. No, she's going to private school. What are you most excited about going to Lawrence?
The food.
The food, since you take your lunch. What else? What about like school things? What are you excited about?
No EOG.
No EOG. reality.
No benchmark.
No benchmarks.
Summer homework.
You want summer homework?
No,
Oh, you don't want summer
they
homework.
have summer homework.
Oh. What else?
Oh, the field trips.
Field trips. They go on more field trips.
No, we go on better.
Better field trips.
Laura Beth went to Busch Gardens.
Oh. And then you said you were excited about the what kind of test though?
What test?
Spell.
What?
Spelling test. She really wants to have a spelling test.
Actually, that was only for 3rd grade, so
Oh, so you're not getting them next year.
no.
Anyway, that would be for another conversation. But
water.
eventually, testing and test prep wears on you. It wears on you. And I'll say that kind of teaching, it wears on kids, and then kids don't necessarily act great because kids might feel dumb or stupid or they're failing, and then they're supposed to go to summer school. It's just no way to live. Anyway.
Goodbye.
I like the Yogis. It makes me feel smart.
Okay, if I'm... Did you hear what she
Blair,
said?
well, you've
That's like
been
a
lied
worthy
to.
of a statement. I like the EOGs because they make me feel smart.
Well, you've been lied to.
I know.
Because you're not.
I
That's the
don't
problem.
like
See,
them now.
she
The
does
math was
well.
Annoying.
But she spends 3 hours a week prepping. I mean, like, think how much time could be used doing interesting things or learning. She was in AIG, which was great. You liked AIG, didn't you?
Yeah.
And they studied dog sledding, but like what they did was what everybody should be doing in school. I mean, it was interesting. Like, all kids should be able to do that. Anyway,
And then she taught us this 5th grade math thing.
5th grade math.
That was
You had a good teacher, didn't you? She's had really good teachers. Which is good, because she's had such good teachers that if she's still unhappy, then we can't blame the teachers. I became a supporter. Where's my badge? I don't know, Rebecca. We'll have to look for it in the morning. We're going to have a little 10 a.m. live video for supporters in the
You don't
morning.
wake up that early.
Yes, I do.
Me to do something.
Today I
You
did
wake
sleep
up
till
at-
11,
you
but I
wake
got
up
in
at
really late from
12.
Jacksonville.
You should be doing that 4.
Be quiet.
That's isn't that right?
Oh, Tinky Smith just got a badge. So anyway, that's all my education for
Bye.
tonight. Yes, all kids should go to STEM. Exactly. Everybody should be doing everything. So yes, send your emails, call people, call them. Because I think we have a shot. Luann, hey Luann, in making things better. And I don't think this is going to help people. Oh, Melissa, I'm glad you're here. Yes, you're a supporter. You'll have a lot of fun. We have a lot of...
Yes.
My children are in a lot of supporter videos.
No,
Which
we're not. You
couldn't-
just try doing the same room as us.
It could be a deterrent.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 2 minutes, so we should get back to our movie.
Okay.
I'm gonna quote you on that. It could be a deterrent.
Well, it's true. Anyway, supporters, I'll see y'all tomorrow. And thanks the rest of y'all for sticking in with education. Look for my post in the morning. Jen Mangrum, our next superintendent on here, saying everyone should have high expectations. Thank you, Jen. And that's why I'm going to vote for her and support her for superintendent. Because if you want North Carolina to be better, you better not vote for Mont Johnson. So,
Bet.
and there's another country
I'm
we're
voting
from.
for Mark Johnson.
We want schools to be good. It shouldn't be just people that are educated that do well. We should give children a chance to do well. You know, all kids should have a chance. And if we're going out of our way to not teach them how to read properly, what are we going to do? How quickly can Jen turn things around? You know, I don't know, Heather. It'll be a struggle because Mark Johnson has been given so much power since he was in office because Berger knew he would be his puppet. But I will tell you, it might take Jen a little bit of time, but at least we will stop the forward motion. There will be no more forward motion.
And it will go backwards.
And that's something. That's something. A lot. Because right now we wouldn't be having this autism conversation. Jen would be, because I know Jen would be saying, you know what? I got this committee of teachers and people that know, and they think we should do this. And damn it, we're going to do it. We're going to do the right things. She'll be able to make decisions like that really quickly. Anyway, it's going to be great. And if she weren't running, I would be very sad. And would probably be trying to figure out how to pull more children out of public school. But I love public school, and I want them to succeed. They're important. They are important. They make our state great. So anyway, what do you think, Russell? Anyway,
I think that you should turn off the light.
I'm turning it off.
Good.
Goodbye.